In this course, we are going to learn how to derive the quotient of two functions. The formula that we will use is displayed on the screen. Let's apply this formula to an example. The example is the function tangent, that is the quotient of the function sinus and cosinus. In order to use the previously given formula, we need to identify which function plays the role of the f function and which function plays the role of the g function. In this case, the f function is the sinus function and the g function is the cosinus function. Then we have to calculate the derivative of each of these functions. The derivative of the sinus function is the cosinus function, and the derivative of the cosinus function is the opposite of the sinus function. Once the derivatives are computed, we can apply the formula. We then replace the value in the formula. Then we identify that sinus square over cosinus square is tangent square, which gives us the final result. Now let's solve a more complex exercise. We need to calculate the following derivative. As usual, we have to identify which function plays the role of the f function and which function plays the role of the g function. The f function is the logarithm function, whose derivative is the inverse function, and the g function is the function x to the power of 7, whose derivative is 7 times x to the power 6. Now let's apply the given formula. We first write the derivative of the f function, which is 1 over x, that we multiply with the g function. We then subtract the f function times the derivative of the g function. And we divide the total by the square of the g function. We then have to simplify the result. Thus, we put x to the power 6 as a factor. And we simplify by the different powers of x, which give us the final result. For this last exercise, let's calculate the derivative of this function. As usual, we need to identify the f function, which is logarithm of x, whose derivative is the inverse function, 1 over x. And we need to identify the g function, which is the square root of x, whose derivative is 1 over 2 times the square root of x. Once all the derivatives are calculated, we can use the formula. We then try to simplify the results as best as we can. That is why we put the square root as a factor. By remembering that the square root of x is x to the 1 over 2 power, and get the final result. If this video was useful to you, please like and subscribe. And if you have any question or request, feel free to use the comment section.